All right, welcome back, everybody. We are continuing Pluribus with season 1, episode 4. We're getting an atom bomb. But seriously, though, the previous episode, the last episode, episode 3, I thought it was pretty good. It had that tension building in the last couple of minutes of the episode in regards to like the grenade, like really beautiful setup of like just putting it right there for us to see, and obviously we're gonna be wondering like what's gonna happen. You know, it's the most obvious Chekhov's gun imaginable, which we've seen that time and time again in Breaking Bad, of course. Um, but really though, once the episode, or rather, once the grenade exploded, and we end the episode with Carol talking to the hive man and testing the limits on how far humanity will go just to please Carol, to make her happy, giving her whatever she wants, a tank, a bazooka, an atom bomb, if she wants to, of course. It does got me thinking of like, okay, where are we gonna go in that regard? Because I feel like they're setting this up. They're setting this up where Carol is going to test the limits of humanity. Like, how far will they go just for Carol's sake? And I would say this is a big responsibility on Carol's hands, because this is something that you can abuse, right? And that's something that we kind of see. That is something that we saw in episode 2, right? With some of the normal people, right, making demands of the hive mind, and they accept it for for the reasons of like, we're trying to make you, we're trying to please you as best as possible. We're trying to make sure that you live the best life that you can have before you join us, before you join the collective, before you shred any form of your individuality. So I don't know. I'm just like interested to see like where they're gonna go based on what we end off in the last episode. But yeah, really great comments all throughout. Again, you guys made some really fascinating comments, talking about like, again, like the hive mind, the RNA, uh, uh, how that works, potentially speaking. Uh, Really good stuff. Keep it up. Keep it up. I love reading all of your comments. And yeah, I guess without any further ado, let us continue on with Pluribus with season 1, episode 4. Oh, is this the guy? The guy from Paraguay? This is a fly reference from Breaking Bad. We're gonna be spending the entire episode just looking at a fly. Is he looking for scraps of food? Ugh. Look at the way all of the windows are covered. Very isolationist. Yeah. In a lot of ways, he is just like Carol, but in some aspects worse. Oh, look at this shot. Wow. He refuses to open the gate because he doesn't want the food. I'm glad we're finally, seeing his character. A potential ally, perhaps? Obviously, Carol and... I'm forgetting his name, but obviously these two, started pretty rough. Not wanting to have any forms of communication whatsoever. At least on his part. The 3 pieces of M&Ms there. Buddy. You are not going to survive. I also do love the the fact that he had to write a note to apologize for the people that he's gonna be taking, their stuff. These tiny little characterization. Please don't eat it. That's literal dog food. Please don't. Oh, this might be Carol, actually. We might be seeing the other side of the phone call that we saw in the last episode. Yeah.
Hola, senor. Ma'am?
I wonder if this is like timed exactly as the last episode. If we put like the two scenes side by side in comparison, like it's like the same timing. That would be cool.
Hola, yo soy Carol Sturka. Estoy de los United States.
¡No me jodan más! ¡Déjenme en paz, hijo de putas!
And he's also like probably thinking, like Carol's probably one of them.
Chinga tu madre, Ketron!
Oh, love the music playing in the back. Potential ally, like I said. This is outside the hospital. Immediately after the last episode, then.
Hi, Carol. Can you hear us?
Of course, makes a perfect way to communicate because she's on a police car.
It's got a push-to-talk button on the side. Works just like on Adam 12.
Oh, would you look at that? Humanity moves quick.
And we're almost done here, Carol. But we could leave the finishing touches for later and clear out now if you'd like.
Do I know you?
Hi.
You're the fucking mayor.
Thank you for your vote.
Thank you for your vote. That's crazy. Oh. Oh, that's... Wow. Write a new book. She did say that she wanted to write a new book. But sure, let's make a mind map, I guess. Give me an A-bomb.
You, Shorty. Rest of you just take a coffee break or whatever floats your boat. Come with me. Do you like my books?
Oh, we love your books.
What do you love about them? How would you say my work compares to Shakespeare?
Equally wonderful.
You love my books as much as Macbeth? Larry, you are telling me that you love the Waikaro series as much as the most famous English language play of all time.
Carol, when we think about a passage from one of your wonderful...
Stop using that word.
Do you remember a woman named Moira McAllister?
Crazy Moira from Kansas City that sends me these dumb crocheted hats?
Before she found your books, Moira was deeply depressed.
This is so good.
In fact, she was going to...
Suicide.
You gave her something to live for.
This is such a good topic to talk about.
What did Helen think of my books? Tell me.
Carol, you expressly told us that Helen is off limits.
Yeah, but you know what? Special dispensation this one time. What did Helen think of my Waikaro books?
She thought they were harmless. Cotton candy was the phrase she used in her mind, mostly.
Cotton candy.
Theme park rides.
Helen thought you knew how to please your audience.
What did she think?
Carol, this line of inquiry isn't. Can we talk about something else?
I want to know.
Oh man, the silent is.
Helen thought it was fine.
Fine as in good? Or fine as in meh?
Meh.
If she hated it so much...
She didn't hate it.
If she hated it so much, why did she tell me to publish it?
She talked to Val, and they agreed that it wouldn't hurt your career, and it would make you happy.
Wow.
Out.
She can use that to her advantage then. The fact that humanity cannot lie.
Here.
Thank you.
So much blue.
Police officer who drove that vehicle, his son's third grade teacher's husband's sister was a charter member of the Waikar fan club.
Wow. Chills.
Chills. Wow.
Well, I'm sorry you got hurt.
Hmm.
You told me that you don't really understand how all this works, this joining. So my question is, do you understand it now?
We have quite a bit more insight into it now, yes.
So is there a way to reverse it?
Hmm.
The joining? Is there not a way to reverse it?
We want so much to please you, Carol, but we can't answer questions like that.
Right. Except your non-answer is my answer.
Soon enough, you'll understand everything, and you will feel so much better.
Freedom Falls. You know what that means, don't you? Tell me about it. Tell me about Camp fucking Freedom Falls.
You were 16, beginning to understand yourself, and your mother, she sent
Go on. What'd she do?
She sent you to a conversion therapy camp in Covington, Tennessee, Camp Freedom Falls. You never forgave her.
Oh.
It was a terrible experience for you. The counselors there...
Some of the worst people I have ever known.
As for us, we love and accept all beings equally.
Wow.
Oh, okay. If you're so accepting, then what about what you're trying to do to me now? Make me just like you, even though you know I do not want that.
You want to change us too, don't
Wow.
you? Didn't you just ask if it's possible to be alone, to suffer? We've been you, but you've never been us.
Wow. I was not expecting the show to talk about that. But, you know, in hindsight, I guess you can kind of see the show as an allegory for, you know, for people in the LGBTQ community.
Everything all right, Carol?
Yeah.
Can we help you find something?
Do you have any heroin?
Remember last time?
What can I say? Sophomore year was tough.
Last time.
Yesterday, you people gave me a hand grenade.
The closest unadulterated heroin is 8 miles from here. It's on its way.
See? Put your mind to it, and you guys are better than dominoes.
Loving the music playing in the back. The music in the series so far has been phenomenal. What a cut! How long has that been recording? Or is the memory already full?
It's just it's absolutely ineffectual. Ineffectual. What? I miss you. I miss you. I miss you. I miss you.
Oh wow.
Dark slip sand,
falling from his clothing, a shadowy figure.
The British
I think
accent.
this could be a movie.
I just know that Rhea Seehorn was having the time of her life when she was filming this.
Listen, I'm not that bad. Raban? I'm sorry. I mean, Zosha. It's Zosha. Oh, you didn't catch your name because I knew her name, Zosha. Hey, Carol. We just want to make you happy. Blah blah blah. Anne? Why she gotta be so goddamn fuckable?
Carol Zosha shippers are having the time of their lives right now.
We have a winner.
Time to forcibly make humanity tell the truth by drugging them. She's gonna inject it on like the I don't know what it's called in English, but the infusion, the
So, when do they let you out of here?
she was making sure there was no cameras on the lift.
That's great. Hey, you know everything. Whatever happened to music in elevators? Nice day.
What Carol is doing is
It
wrong,
is.
by the way.
Thank you for bringing us outside.
Just want to make sure that we're on the same page here. What she's doing is wrong.
The winds are 3 kilometers per hour from
From where?
southeast.
How do I reverse all this? How do I reverse the joining?
No,
Zosha, how do I end this thing? You already told me it's possible.
no.
Yes? Is it making you sad not giving me what I want? Is this making you sad? Don't be sad. Tell me what I want to know. Zosha. Is this something I can do? Is it something one person can do? Zosha, tell me what is it some kind of chemical?
Oh my god.
What's happening?
She's dying, Carol. She's in cardiac arrest. May we save her?
Analyzing. Shock advised. Stay clear of patient.
You can't end the episode there. What an episode. What an episode. This was great. I love this episode a lot. Zoja might be fine because she is being, again, like, she's kind of being set up as the interest of Carol, you know, romantic interest or just interest in general. It would be, again, like, it would be kind of crazy if the next episode happens and they just reveal that Zoja passed away. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. And that was Pluribus, Season 1, Episode 4. What an episode. I really enjoyed this episode a lot. A lot of standout scenes as well. Might be my favorite episode of the series thus far. Maybe tied with like the first episode. But like really strong. This was a really strong episode in my opinion. I guess specifically for like the stuff that this episode was exploring. Which I was really into. I really enjoyed it a lot. To the point where some of the reaction segment I was just, you know, being silent, but that's just how it is, right? You're so immersed with the story and whatever. But yeah, really great episode. I really enjoyed this a lot. Where do we start? Because there's a lot we can talk about, you know, like there's the opening segment, there's the Carol talking about like her books, the Carol backstory, the truth and the lies and whatever, and there's a lot. I mean, I guess we can go chronologically speaking. So, start of the episode, we are being introduced to the person from Paraguay whose name is Manosos. He strikes me as a character that will become important later down the line because of the way he was introduced in the series, right? This mystery person who the hive mind discovered last, right? Someone who was so isolated and someone who isn't really making any contact with everybody else, that the hive mind only just found out about him like a couple of days ago. And just judging from like the from how we are first introduced to him in this episode, you can clearly see that, the windows being barred, being covered in cardboard boxes, him rummaging through his, I guess, some of the belongings of his employees or something along those lines, something like that, where he pretty much ate dog food because he refuses to eat food from the hive mind, which by that time I see him as like kind of a similar to Carol in the regard of like he does not want to be with the hive mind, and he refuses help from the hive mind in some cases, or rather in many cases, in all of the cases, if we're being honest here, right? Which is like the difference between him and Carol. Carol's still, because Carol has Zoja, there is that human connection between her and the hive mind, right? And because of that human connection, and because she is starting to see the hive mind more and more as a person, although she probably, she is still probably of the mindset, like these are not people, but she clearly sees them, or at least she clearly sees Zoja as the exception. Right, therein lies the difference between the two of these, these characters, Manoso and Carol. I can totally see Manoso as this, as a future ally, a supporting ally for Carol, being the only other person on Earth. Potentially, there's still like other normal people who have not joined Hive Mind, who we have not yet met, so we don't know how they feel about the hive mind. But at least now we know there's one other person who's probably in the same mindset of Carol. The only difference being, as I mentioned, Carol has this connection with the hive mind through Zoja, whereas Manoso does not. So we might be, Manoso might be a more, for lack of a better term, a more extremist character than Carol, who might form, a more human bond, a more human connection, more sympathy and empathy towards the hive mind through Zoja, which is again why I think they're not going to kill off Zoja after what is, after what just happened here, because losing Zoja means Carol loses any forms of connections to the hive mind. Like, she already lost Helen. If she loses Zoja again, well, then there's really nothing else, there's really nothing else for her to, to look forward to, or there's no, she has nothing else, she got nothing left to lose at that point, right? Like, there's, like, that's it. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see Manoso and Carol finally interact in the future, though, because they are setting that up. Especially with the whole phone calls. Love seeing that from the other side of, of the call, and seeing his kind of reaction when Carol was just, cussing at him, and he was surprised by it, obviously, because he was not expecting, a hive mind to talk shit about him. That's, they've always been kind, they've always been positive. So to hear Carol just screaming, definitely put her on the list, right? He wrote her name, and again, like, potential ally. But remains to be seen on like how he is going to contribute to the story. Because I thought we were going to be focusing a lot more on him in this episode, but no, we only saw him in like the first opening segment of the show, of this episode. And then we focus on completely something different by the end, throughout the rest of the episode. Classic Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, if you ask me. Classic Vince Gilligan. Anyways, Carol in this episode is going through a lot of really interesting character developments that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed how she was being presented in this episode. The many not just characterization, but also like how she is more open in this episode is something that I really appreciate. That is something that is almost prevalent in this episode. Like one of the major themes of this episode is Carol opening up about herself whilst also learning about other people, right? Connection. This is again, like one of the key themes of the show, in my opinion, is going to be about connection. This human connection and how we communicate with one another, and how these sorts of connections, and while we open up about ourselves, and once we learn about who we are as a person, and how we learn what who you are as a person, the opposite of you, you're gonna learn all about the good and the bad, and it's all about accepting those bad in order to enjoy the good at the same time, right? Her learning about or rather, let's just dial it back just a little bit. Her talking with I'm forgetting his name, the guy who's actually really tall, but she calls him Shorty. Really funny. But she was asking about like, how do you feel about my books? How do you feel about my stories? And how they, not just this person, but the hive mind in general, or the people who have read her books. And I guess through that extension, I guess everybody else in the world, the hive mind in general, who learns about, who now understands her book through those people who loves her books, asking them like, how do you feel about my book? And they all like, we love it. It's great. It's beautiful. It changed my life and whatever. We compare it to Shakespeare and stuff. And I love that scene a lot because it echoes so much of current discussions about art in general. Because I feel like people, currently speaking, I feel like a lot of people are forgetting that art can save lives, and how much art can influence somebody's life, how much they can impact someone, and how they perceive life in general. Even if you don't like a specific media, a specific show, or a specific movie or whatever, like, there's something magical, there's something beautiful about, you may not enjoy this, but somebody else, maybe somebody that you never know, probably just did a complete 180 of their lives. Maybe they were going down the wrong paths, and then they just watched this, let's just say, like a mediocre show, but that mediocre show is so special to them, and it changed their lives. I just find it to be very, very beautiful, and it's something that is that is missing in a lot of discussions about art in the current sphere. Like, if you go to social media, if you go to Twitter, it's always going to be, this is the greatest thing ever made, and then the comment section or the replies, the quote retweets are just going to be like, bro, watch more shows, watch more animes, like, really, the greatest thing of all time compared to Shakespeare, which is kind of exactly what Carol was criticizing the hive mind about. And I like how, again, like, the whole thing is, it's not about not every art is great. I think we agree on that. Like, not every art is great, but we cannot just ignore the fact that for some people, the thing that you hate is the thing that is keeping them alive. Like, we gotta accept that. So it's really, again, like I just really love that scene. It really speaks to me. You know, it's something that I personally have felt as well over the course of, you know, many years, and how I view art and how I guess review or discuss things in general, because it's this really you know, it's this balance of like making sure that if I don't like something, you know, I gotta balance that on the fact that that is just my personal opinion, and for some people, if that's like the greatest thing that they think about, if that is like the greatest movie ever made in their opinion, that's completely fine. You want to compare it to Shakespeare? Do it, King. No, nobody's stopping you. You want to compare Demon Slayer to Shakespeare? Go ahead. It's not my thing. But if it's your thing, and if it's like so impactful to you, and how it changed how you perceive life, and how you decide to do better and do good because of that, of what some other people would consider to be, you know, middling or meh, then more power to you. And that's all that matters, right? It is that power that art can give to you. And that is something that Carol seemingly does not possess. It's a perspective that she does not have, because that is her perspective, right? She had this is her stance on art, right? And it is also a characterization that she is belittling herself and her works. She does not think of her work as something that is worthy of discussion. She sees it as just, you know, I don't know. I don't actually know how she feels, because it's this weird situation where she has little faith of her own work, but when someone tells her that her work is bad or meh, then she gets upset. Right? It's the human, it's human emotions, right? It's just, emotions are weird sometimes. You say, you know, because when she heard that Helen thought it was meh, it was okay, it was fine, it's not the greatest thing ever, you know, it stings for her, right? It stings specifically because it is from Helen. But at the same time, it's that searching for validity, like that validation of like, I don't know, Carol is such an interesting character. I'm not really explaining how I feel about that specific scene as well as I could, because I am kind of going back and forth on some of my wordings, but hopefully you guys can sort of understand where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to say, and hopefully maybe you guys can understand that scene as well, because it is genuinely a really good scene. I really love that scene. This topical discussion, this commentary on like the author and their own works, how much it touches people, how much it, you know, moves, you know, move people on you know, on a, not just on an emotional level but on a spiritual level as well. That whole story of like how, you know, one of her fans was in a very dark place, and then she read her book, and you know, it changed her life. It was, they were kind of it was very much implied that this person was, you know, about to commit suicide, but just reading from her books, reading Carol's books, let her live. And that is just something beautiful. Like that is something beautiful, and I don't think Carol is seeing the beauty in that, because she doesn't does not feel the same way about her own works, right? And maybe other authors or other authors can maybe somewhat relate to that. I relate a little bit in the sense that whenever I draw, a picture or a drawing or a book or whatever, and I look at my drawings and I'm like, nah, this isn't good. I don't like this. There's so much wrong about this. Like, you can nitpick as much as you want. You can criticize your own work because you are the only because you know what you are working with, right? You know where you went wrong and where you were right and whatever. But if I give it to somebody else, they're gonna go, "What are you talking about? This is amazing. This is incredible," right? It's I don't know. Maybe if you're like an artist or of the similar profession, you can understand where Carol is coming from, because I certainly can understand where Carol is coming from. But it's also, for her, it is work. For her, this is something that might be stressful for her, and that's why that may be the reason why she feels a certain way towards her own work. Because think of like how much she probably sacrificed to have it published, or how many working hours, how many times, how many sleepless nights where she has to write the manuscript and give it to like an editor, and then they have to go back and forth and whatever. Like, it is very stressful, right? And sometimes that stress can make you love your work less and less. So again, a lot of nuances in that regard, but ultimately it is all about like understanding that art transcends a lot of boundaries. Art is in many ways an expression of human emotion, human connections, and that can obviously touch a lot of people's hearts. That is beautiful. Moving on past that segment, past that scene, beautiful scene again. I really enjoyed the scene between Carol and Zosha in the hospital when Carol was opening up about herself. That was something that I was not expecting the show would do, or rather, I wasn't expecting the show to explain Carol's backstory in that manner. But once they talk about it, I was like, wow. In many ways, the show can also be attributed to that. Like, I can totally see people seeing the show as an allegory for coming out, for LGBTQ representation, because of the story that Carol just said. It's you find yourself to be different. You see yourself not, quote unquote, the same as other people. You're not, quote unquote, normal. And in the case of Carol, I mean, it's not the first time. Like, many stories of this has been explored upon in real stories as well. Like, I know some people who are literally going through this, where they are discovering about who they are as a person, discovering more about their individuality, if we were going to be tying it into like one of the themes of the show. But then like, their parents, usually conservatives, they they see their their children as like, okay, you're not normal. What are you doing here? Let me send you to this place where we can rehabilitate you, and you can join us as normal people, right? Let us brainwash you. I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see how how people reacted to this episode, and how people respond or view this episode and that specific scene. Because I thought it was really, really beautiful. Not beautiful in the sense that what Carol was going through. No, it was terrible. But more so like how it ties into like the show's theme as a whole, right? You're an odd one out, but you know, you don't want to join those people because you're not them, you're you. That is who you are, right? It is about expressing yourself. This is who I am, right? For Carol. Good stuff. It's really good stuff. I really enjoy that. Let's move on. The Carol and Zosha relationship. Speaking of coming out and you know and all that stuff, you know, the Zosha and Carol relationship. I love how when Carol was under influence and she was you know, being truthful, you're being honest about herself, and then she was just pretty much saying like, why is she so fuckable? the way Carol reacted to that moment when she was like, oh, I don't want to hear that, throw that away. It's in some ways it is also kind of going against you know, like the previous scene that I was talking about, because that is her realizing her feelings towards someone of the same sex, and then she was repressing that idea. Just saying, you know, she realizes that she has feelings for her. I mean, that is very obvious for us, the audience, I believe. I hope it's obvious, because I know some people are kind of stupid, you know, to pick up some of these things. But the fact that she didn't have to flush the, you know, the SD card away. Like, why would she do that? My only assumption is that she was so she was so repulsed of the fact that she had feelings for Zosha, and so she throws it away because she does not want to accept the fact that she has feelings for the hive mind that she so clearly hates. That's what I'm getting. But yeah. Getting lost in my train of thought there just for a little bit. But the reason why I brought up like the Zosha and Carol discussion is because this has been something that we've been kind of discussing and talking about. I guess ever since Zosha was introduced in the second episode. You know, this human connection, this way for Carol to interact with the hive mind whilst also humanizing the hive mind into a single person. And it's also kind of working for me as well as the audience here, because I view Zosha differently from how I view the hive mind, if that makes sense. Even though Zosha is the hive mind, but the way the show is presenting Zosha, the way the show is characterizing Zosha, it's making her feel more and more separate than the hive mind, even though she is part of the hive mind. And it's this kind of like distinction that I feel like Carol also needs to remember, right? That she is interacting with the hive mind and not a person. Because I feel like with the interaction between her and Zosha, she is interacting with her more and more as a person. But yeah, speaking of joining the hive mind, or rather, how do we reverse the effects? I've talked about it before in some of my episode discussions back in like episode 2 or 3 or whatever. If there is a way, we don't know for sure, which is why I wasn't really, you know, I didn't want to comment on it during the reaction. In other movies and other stories in regards to people joining the hive mind and trying to find a way to fix it and reverse the effects. One way to do that is either to cut the main source, because there's usually a main source of the hive mind. I don't know if there is a main source of the hive mind on this show, considering like there's no like super being that came here and just, you know, brainwash everybody into their, you know, into their mind or whatever. Maybe it's the rat. Maybe it's like the rat that we saw in like the first episode. Maybe that rat is like the true hive mind source, because that is the first, because all of this started because that rat bit someone. I am joking, by the way. But another way that, you know, that we can reverse this this effect is, I guess, taking cues from one of my favorite shows, Evangelion, is if the individual within the hive mind chooses to break free themselves. It's their own free will. That could be a possibility. And the reason why that is the reason why it may be proven ineffective, or the reason why, you know, the hive mind does not want to tell Carol how to fix it, is because Carol can't do anything about it. So it would be useless for her to know of this information, because the only people that can reverse the effects is the persons, you know, the people in the hive mind themselves. We don't know for sure. I'm only speculating by using, you know, another show, another story to think of, you know, possibilities. But, you know, it's something that I think would be cool to explore if that is the case. If not, then I am very much excited to see like what Vince Gilligan is cooking up in terms of like the explanation to all of this. But yeah, let me know what you all think about this episode. I'm cutting the review short because I do have to go. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this episode. What, you know, again, let me know in the comment section. Discuss it. Leave me your theories and whatever. It will be great. I would love to read them all. Thank you all so much for tuning in to my Pluribus Season 1, Episode 4 reaction. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Peace.